The last one I was going to do today was actually quite a long, convoluted dream, which seemed gone for ages, all sorts of different things, but only two sort of scenes from it really stuck when I woke up and could remember any kind of detail, which I'll now relate to you. The first scene concerned me sitting on a bench in some kind of a park with other people. I couldn't see who they were as usual, but and some people were walking past, and they were all sort of laden with golf equipment, bags and clubs and all the rest of it. The one who was quite, sort of at the back of the group appeared to suddenly drop a lot of small items. I don't know what they actually were. They weren't golf balls. They were actually about twice as big as golf balls and kind of square things, cubic sort of things. Anyway, he spilled a lot of these on the floor, on the ground. He stopped while the others were carrying on walking. He picked most of them up and then carried on following the other people. But I saw he'd missed one of them, and I shouted after him, "Excuse me." When he turned to look at me, I pointed to the object on the ground. Without a word or any kind of acknowledgement, he walked back and picked the thing up, then walked off again to catch up with the others. At that point, I realised his face rather amusingly reminded me of George Bush, the wonderful US president at the time of 9/11. The other scene, which was linked with it in some way, concerned I was in some kind of a big open air craft fair, yet again in a car. I was driving slowly across this sort of area, and some teenager with very striking red hair came over, not literally red, obviously orange, ginger, came over and seemed to know me, although I did not recognise him. He sort of beckoned to me to sort of follow him, which he was walking, of course, and I was still in the car. So I slowly followed him over towards a row of stalls. In particular, one again painted bright orange. In fact, a lot of the stalls and other things were orange painted. It seemed the predominant colour of this part of the dream. I don't know why. But when we reached the stall, it appeared to be closed up and now had just a blank orange wooden wall in front of us. The youth stepped away and disappeared. I was obviously still driving. I'd been driving very slowly and carefully up to this point, but now I felt the car take on almost a personality of its own, and it wanted to take control of itself. Accordingly, I took my feet away from the pedals and let it do its own thing. It firstly reversed abruptly a few feet, but then seemed to calm down and quietly but determinedly rolled forward, gently increasing speed until it made contact with the stall. It then started pushing the stall backwards into what transpired to be 2 or 3 further lines of stalls. As we passed neighbouring stalls on each side, but for some reason particularly on the left side, I could see what looked like 1 or 2 people sitting there bound and gagged. And that was the end of the dream. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to discuss this one with Kevin, and it left me rather a bit bewildered, so perhaps you could enlighten us again, please, Dwayne.
Okay, another funny scene. So, yeah, you were saying stalls. Is that what you were saying? I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, sort of like how would you describe it? Small kind of stands where people are selling things over a counter. In a sort of like a big sort of boxy sort of thing with a counter, but for some reason when we got to them, they were turned the wrong way. It was sort of, in effect, we were sort of going into the back of them instead of approaching the front, which you would expect from the sort of centre of the arena, as it were.
Mm-hmm. So at some point, the car starts to drive and you let go. Okay, so that's the idea, right? That's
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, the car is an idea, and again, you're in the experience. You're given the experience that, okay, this is the personal self. This is part of the personal self. That's the vehicles that we're in, that we create, and you're in this demonstration that, you're kind of letting the personal self, okay, do the driving, however it's doing. And so, Paul talked about this too, and that is that, as we create the personal self, after a while, the real you just can't get through because the personal self is so routined. So again, here's an objective view of what you're seeing, and these stalls or whatever, I was thinking something like a phone booth or whatever, but it's these people with booths or tables or something. Is that the idea? They're out there, they're selling their, like a marketplace or something. Is that the idea?
Yeah, but it's a sort of craft fair thing. Is that sort of idea, though? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then to the left, you see some people tied up. Okay, so that's past, and these can be people or you've referred to in the past, because again, why would they be showing up there? So there's this part of your personal self, but the real you is there also. So you're experiencing it. You're objectively experiencing what the personal self is also doing. You see, that's your experience, because you're consciously letting go of it and letting the personal self go. So you're given this experience to show how it does what it does on its own, you see. So again, take that into consideration and the comparison, and also the people that are tied up on the left side there. So in other words, I would say that my impression would be that these are people that you've known, and they didn't quite get it yet. So the thing is, they're all tied up. And who ties up who? Everybody ties up themselves. They all get tied up by themselves. So again, in the experience, there's a basic idea. When you're moving forward, that's present. To the right is future. To the left is past, or somebody or something that you went through, etc. And that's also like the left-hand road too. If you decide to go left, you decided to go into the past or your routines. Present shows up, etc. So again, those are basic ideas, and then looking at the experience. And sometimes you really have to look a little closer to see, what's the idea, what's the intent there, or what is the impression of that experience. But overall, it's you're in the position of seeing what happens when you let the personal self do its thing on its own. Now, the mind, the emotions, and all this that we have, these 5 bodies, they can be fine once we get them into a routine where they assist us, instead of us having to manage them all the time and hassle with them or be hassled by them, you see. So, and that's a lot. The boys have been around thousands of years and beyond that, etc., and they've gone through a lot too, and constantly going through it, and so are we. And today, life is intense, and so this is a big challenge to see all this. But at least you're stepping up, you're looking at it. But this gives you an idea, and this is why we're doing the Skypes. We're here to help people to simply become more aware. And this is why, overall, I never wanted to do the membership or any of this nonsense anymore, because we've done it. And we're not here to tell people what to do. We're here to share. And when people are ready, they step up, they be a real person, and they be equal with everybody else, to where we do our part and we have fun with this. We make it fun. I've made the new presentation fun. It looks very complex, but it's not, and it's not a serious thing at all. But at the same time, you're learning and understanding this is the best part, or you just stay with your same old routines, grow old, and go unconscious. You decide that. This is the nowness of the is. The boys, they made me new management. I decided what the new man is. I created this, and they back it. This is what we're doing now. We're not doing all the other foo-foo funny stuff. And so along with that, we're also doing projects that help the world, getting funding, doing these things. And it's very difficult because I need agreement to do that. And so you're part of this too, and you decide what part you want to play. And for the longest time, and it's up to you, how long you want to play with that personal self. See, in any moment, you can decide to do something different. just like we did. We decided to, the group of us, we decided to do a certain thing, focus something, and do it. Move from one place to another and just decide to do it, to set it up, etc. And anyone can do this. But for the most part, you're figuring out your personal self. And that can go on and on and on. And again, Paul talked about it too. That's the problem-solving area. You decide how long you want to solve the problem of you that you created. And Rebazar said it a long time ago, and I don't use the word problem, but he said it a long time ago in one of Paul's books. He said, you are your own problem. Okay. And Paul used that word, but I don't use that word. I see, different situations. I see the advantage that we all have of becoming more aware. It's really that simple. And I'm not making a speech here. The thing being is that life is like the sun shining. Figure it out, see how real it is, step up, do something, get past that personal self, and really decide to do something that's, mission impossible. That's what I've decided. I've decided to do impossible things and not chase. I'm not chasing my personal life. I don't care about a personal life. There is no me. It's this isness that life is, and to be able to figure that out and stand real with that. And at the same time, while in creation, do something that is impossible. That's an impossible challenge to do. But guess what? It can be done if you'll step up. But most people step back and they say, oh, it can't be done. Oh, that's never been done. Who's doing that? You see, again, these are the personal minds. And so, yes, you're going to have many experiences still in the personal area because there's so much to you. But overall, your intent, your decision with that, to see that, to be creative, that's up to you. But in the meantime, you're going to go through a lot of this personal stuff until you really decide to take hold and step up and be real, you see? So, yeah, it's a big journey. And this is why over the years, 50 years, I've been doing this in 1970. And before that, preparing to come into this life, Paul. Here it is 50 years here already. And I've seen so much and so many people come and go. And for the most part, they just take the personal knowledge. And that's as far as they go. And they think, oh, I know something. No, you have no idea what it is, because it's endless. And you can't even consider how real it is and how much better it is. But the best part is that you can stand real and be aware and get past that personal self with other beings that are awesome, where you don't need language. It's just an isness that is so clear. Yes. And so, yes, young man, you, like everybody else, we go through things, but at the same time, hey, the world's dying. What are we going to do? Are we going to sit here and watch it? Or are we just going to focus on our personal self all the time? So you decide. That's a little bit there. So thank you, Peter. Go ahead.
Right, okay. Thank you very much for that. And I'll say goodbye for now and speak to you again in another couple of weeks, hopefully.